3 years ago, I was a skinny guy. All my life, I have been struggling with this insecurity of being undersized. Half of my childhood, I would stand my ground if someone confronted me. But the other half of the childhood, I didn't, especially in the high school. I was physically bullied. Honestly, I was never a victim of severe, everyday, consistent bullying. It was more like if things got heated between guys, if I'm arguing with someone. And you know, when you kind of can feel like the violence is about to erupt, I would try to de-escalate and like the other guy, because I had this limiting belief that I cannot stand up for myself. I don't have the ability to fight, which was true. The other guy would feel my weakness and try to focus on it. So basically I would chicken out. Now, looking back at it in retrospect, I see it was more of a mental game than physical. Some of the boys knew that if you appear violent, you're going to intimidate some people, when in reality they were not ready to fight themselves. They like of course there were like 4 or 5 guys who had actual fighting abilities, but the rest of them I can easily slap right now. I can easily beat the fuck out of them right now. But back then I didn't know, like I was afraid because I assumed that everyone can fight and I cannot. I didn't know about this mental game aspect of the violence game. And the other reason was that I was quite undersized. And I would chicken out, especially when the conflict was happening between me and the bigger guy. So I know how horrible it feels. You feel inadequate. You feel pathetic. You feel weak, insignificant, all of that. It fucks up with your mental health. I don't know precisely what, but chickening out in violent interactions kind of takes away from your masculinity. You basically feel like a bitch. It fucks with your mental health. So I know how horrible it feels. And I know for a fact that, and you also know that skinny guys are picked up on because they appear weak. We assume that skinny guys are weaklings, which is generally true. Of course, you can be some skinny boxer or some skinny powerlifter, but generally it's very much true. That's why you see online this from skinny to muscular transformation gets so many views and likes, because yeah, I think that's the reason why they're predominantly watched by boys. So here's how I was able to gain weight. I was quite skinny and had like problems with bulking up. Like I was feeling nauseous and my metabolism was quite high, so I had to eat a lot. But after 2 years, I'm now 10 kg heavier, like 25 pounds heavier. There are countless online videos, but they all like don't really focus on the most important things, the pillar, the foundational things that will make your bulk successful. It's the fact that you need to recognize that bulking is actually a skill. The art of gaining weight. The art of gaining weight is just the same as trying to learn to play a guitar. You know, it takes hours and upon hours of consistent practice, right? You don't expect to watch some 3 YouTube videos and then try for a few weeks and then you magically play a guitar now. You know that it takes a lot of effort. But for some reason, we fail to apply the same logic to the bulking. We don't recognize that it's a skill. A lot of us try for 2 months, watch some motivational video, feel hyped up about gaining weight and try some tips for 2 months, and then you kind of give up and stop really trying to do that. When in reality, like not making any progress was part of the process, because I remember for a few good months, I was struggling to gain weight myself. I would step on a scale and see no fucking difference in the number. And it felt terrible, but it just gave me more fuel to work harder, to improve my skill of bulking even further. I kept trying new things. I kept trying old things. I tried to eat more and more. And eventually the bulk caught up and I started gaining weight. I learned the way. I cracked the code. How did I do it? Just consistent practice. Like I tried so many foods. I tried so many tips. Eventually you will figure it out. There are like so many mini small things included, like for example, appetite. Like your appetite is a mini skill, which is part of the bigger skill of gaining weight. Your appetite. A lot of guys have struggled eating in a calorie surplus. I was having the same issue. I just forced food into my mouth day by day, feeling nauseous, but continuing going on until my body adjusted. Like literally my hormones in my body, I think, changed up. My hormonal composition is now different. Like my body was like, yo, this guy is a psychopath. He keeps trying to stuff away food into the stomach. My body was like, I cannot stop him, so yeah, let him eat as much as he wants. And now my hormonal system is a little bit different. Now it's easier for me to eat more. I still struggle a little bit, but it's not as difficult as it was in the beginning of the bulk. I remember nearly vomiting every time. There is also another skill of learning the calories and proteins in every food possible. Every time you go to the grocery, you grab the label and look how many calories, how many proteins, how many fats are there. And like after a few months, you kind of know how many calories are in each fucking product in the grocery store without even looking at the label. You can just look at it, see what's inside, and kind of tell how many calories and proteins in there. And by eating every day and measuring up your weight, you will start to feel how much food you actually need. And now, even without measuring, you can successfully continue your bulk. All of this require effort. Like watching 3 videos is not going to do the magic for you and replace the work you need to put in. It's always mind-boggling to me how, like, the people with best physiques, the best skill set, like the best basketball players, never ever anyone engages in optimal routine. No one does it. Everyone makes mistakes, keeps learning, and keeps trying hard. The vital behavior is showing up and having this drive, you know? You might be a fucking nerd who creates the most optimal workout routine, and you still will be 10 times less jacked than the guy who just wants to become jacked so much that he just outworks you by sheer volume. It's not about small strategies and twists. Of course, they're great and provide a small boost, but the underlying reason is the goal and how much you want to gain weight. Because for me, like, I felt soul crushingly terrible when I was chickening out of the fight. So I had anger within me. So that's why I started gaining weight. I don't want to offend anyone, but how can you be skinny to the point you look like literal anatomy skeleton? If I was extremely skinny, I wouldn't be able to sleep myself. How can you walk around like that? No woman will respect you. No man will respect you. No one will respect you. It's just horrible. Like, what are you doing with your life? What's the issue with gaining a few fucking pounds? It's mind-boggling to me how some guys are so skinny and they don't do nothing about it. Even though, like, their life would be transformed by the weight transformation you do. So stay strong and get some fucking weight.